boards, windows, and door frames. There wasn't an inch of painted wood anywhere in the house. Once the house was finished and all of her furniture was in place, she'd managed to achieve a bit of Danish flair right there in the piney woods of central Mississippi. Exactly where you'd expect to find it, right? By the time I was old enough to have any awareness at all about where I lived, Mama, Daddy, sister, and brother had been in the new house for almost a decade. They'd shifted and adjusted to make room for me, so Sister and I shared the master bedroom for a few years while Mama and Daddy took up residence in a smaller bedroom at the front of the house. I thought all 5-year-olds got to have a bathroom adjacent to their rooms, and it wasn't until I was much older that I realized how Mama and Daddy had sacrificed their space for us. Life in the house that my parents built wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There were tensions and arguments and resentments. Sister and I both would tell you that we cried more tears in that house than we have in any place since. Teenage drama is hard, y'all. And, just in case you've forgotten, please let me remind you that Mama was unhappy with the proportions of the front porch. Real problems. We had them. But we also had something else. Stability. Daddy faithfully went to work every morning, and even though he never said a word about it, we all knew that he excelled at his job. Mama stayed home and worked just as hard in our house. The two of them shuttled kids to piano lessons and ball games and dance lessons and cheerleading practices and 4-H meetings. They put 3 kids through college, paid off their house, and tirelessly served their church and their community. I don't recall a single time when they lectured us about responsibility. But they didn't have to. Their actions preached that sermon just fine. When I type in Mama and Daddy's old address on the Google, as Mama calls it, the street view puts me smack dab in the middle of an intersection about a mile from the house itself. I've traveled through that intersection thousands of times, to the point that I have all of its options memorized. If I go east, I'll pass the Pack-a-Sack, site of many an orange slushie when I was a little girl, the swim club where I spent countless summer days. In this case, swim club is really just another way of saying affordable swimming pool option located on the edge of someone's woods, and the big Victorian house that belonged to the Yarbroughs and then the Hollands. Sister and Barry's wedding reception was there, as was my bridal luncheon. And if I keep moving past the Hollands' old house, I'll eventually pass the street where my friend Amanda lived, the turn that leads to my elementary school, and the Baptist church where our next-door neighbors were members. I went to VBS at that church from 1st through 6th grade. That's why I can't look at the steeple without thinking of Bible drills and strawberry Kool-Aid. If I go north, I'll see every house and landmark I passed on the way to Aunt Choxie and Uncle Joe's, or to my high school, or to the Winn-Dixie where Mama often sent me to buy some grocery item she'd forgotten. Since that way led to most of my friends' houses, it was the road I traveled more than any other once I started driving. There's not an unfamiliar turn or curve. Even now, I'm almost certain that you could spin me around 10 times, put me in the driver's seat, and I'd be able to drive it blindfolded. That road led to Methodist Youth Fellowship on Sunday nights when I was in high school, and a few years later, I followed it all the way out to Highway 45, where I turned left and drove to Starkville for college. In so many ways, it was the path to independence. The fact that it ran straight by my favorite fried chicken place didn't hurt one bit either. Sometimes I would visit the drive-thru for a little of that fried chicken before I'd start the journey back to Starkville. It was my little pre-travel secret. Except for the fact that if you'd scrutinized my freshman year weight gain, you would have eventually said, I believe she's consuming more than her fair share of fried chicken. If I click south at that intersection, I'll dead end at the building where my friend Kimberly and I used to take aerobics classes, back when people wore leotards and leg warmers. Turn left, and I'll eventually end up at my friend Ricky's old house, which was where we did a whole lot of laughing and SNL watching in high school. Ricky's house was on the way to one of Myrtlewood's main thoroughfares, which just so happened to be the place where teenagers used to cruise up to the Sonic and back down to McDonald's on Friday and Saturday nights. I hated everything about that particular teenage ritual, mainly because the whole exercise seemed pointless to me, a waste of gas and a waste of time. Mamaw here would have rather stayed home and watched Fantasy Island reruns. Head west and, well, that's the road that used